Hello guys, David Vos. It's a beautiful day here in Paradise in New Mexico. There's some clouds up ahead, up above. Got clouds up above and they're making it a little cooler. It was up to about 87 or 88, but now it's getting cooler. Looks like the rain's going to start sometime here soon, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I'm having a wonderful day and my chickens are running around happy and the puppies are happy and I'm happy and hope you're happy. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Friends, I was sent a video and, you know, we've got to address this again. Like I say, it's just people, a lot of us are just believing in so many things. Mandela and flat earth and aliens and all of this stuff. Now look, I've said there's a lot of, we've been taught just everything that we've been taught is a lie. But what's going on right now is not a disclosure of truth. This is not Jesus coming back. This is the devil. And he's trying to bring order out of chaos. He's trying to bring down present society and all established things. None of these individuals that you're listening to believe in Jesus. Santos Bonacci doesn't believe that Jesus is real. He's not coming back. Joshua, the Sons of God Ministries, doesn't believe in Jesus, that he's coming back. That his kingdom's going to be established. That righteousness is going to reign. They, Jeff Daughtry doesn't just believe in not being forced to bow down to any deity, but he literally chooses to bow down and believe in some woman deity that I haven't determined the name of this deity. There's some blood things going on. I don't know what they're doing. But he also acknowledges, and on tape acknowledges, that he likes Odin. He believes in Odin. And that whole dark Gothic Nazi belief system. That everybody's, no matter who they are, the whole New Age system wasn't started by Blavatsky, but Anne Besant and the Illuminati infiltrated it, created the New Age movement from her works, but buried her work. Nobody's ever read her stuff, but they keep reading all these other people like Elizabeth Clare Prophet and, Shirley MacLaine or whoever is holding the torch for this New Age idea, which is just all about fluff and rainbows and crystals and fragrances and herbs, but they don't tell you anything real about herbs. And they don't believe in Jesus. And they believe that they give you some nuggets of truth, like reincarnation told you, explain things to you. Love is all that's important, except their kind of love is transgender and pedophilia, and there is no deity, right? And how dare we worship the Lord, right? This is what they're talking about. And I know so many of you are beginning to get confused, and they're like, well, maybe there is no Lord, Dave. Well, but listen, if you don't want to believe in the Bible because you're not certain about that, because they've lied to you so much that you actually believe them when they say that there's no proof of Jesus. Every historian that ever lived spoke of Jesus. Now they've got you to where you don't believe in the basic things, but you believe in things you can't prove, conspiracies. Oh, there's no history, Dave. There's no world. We're not here. There is no Lord. Good is evil and evil is good. Oh, and this old lady, she says she was abducted and now she knows everything. And we just believe her. We trust her. Friends, stop. If you were high on some drug one time and you thought you were abducted, listen, maybe the devil came to you. I don't know. Maybe you had a dream. But I guarantee the draconians aren't down here flying up through the Galactic Federation on their ships and Jesus didn't know about it. See, you'd have to just abandon your faith in the Lord to start believing all this stuff, and you got no proof for any of that except for, oh, you had a dream one time. You don't even remember the dream until all of a sudden you start reading these books and they encouraged you to have these memories. I don't know when these people with a straight face start telling you the stories. Oh, I went to the center of the galaxy. I saw the black hole, and I realized that was my only out. I'm going to jump in. You idiot. You don't even know what a black hole is. You couldn't get close to a black hole. Your ship, that part of the universe is all going into it. These things are powerful. We don't even know that there are such things, right? It's just like science fiction. They tell us about stuff and we just, oh, well, we believe it then. Oh yeah, we found a planet on another galaxy that's got water. What? How far is that? Well, it's millions of light years, hundreds of millions of light years to some of the stars in the galaxy. How far is it to the next galaxy? Like hundreds of billions of light years away. There's no possible way you could see. And these guys are liars. So anyway, science is lying, but it's not like we didn't have accurate information as good as could be given to us. I mean, people like Newton weren't idiots. Newtonian physics works. Calculus works. These guys were brilliant people. The whole thing got sort of hijacked by the Bavarian Illuminati, who started using the science that was coming out for their advantage. They went to rationalism, started Darwinism, and the Big Bang, and Einsteinianism, and relativity, and all this stuff. Yeah, all of that is a twist on things. It's a veil over the truth. Just like all this mumbo jumbo you hear about electricity and generators and stuff like this. Tesla and Benjamin Franklin, for the Lord's sake, knew more about electricity than the average person today, because today they've hidden it from us in these little words, and they don't describe anything correctly to us. They tell us we got to have a generator. Generating electricity is ridiculous. Electricity's everywhere. So they're just lying to us about it. But it's not like they don't know the truth. They do have satellites and ships and solar panels work, and you know, the combustion chamber worked for years, and they went to electric car. It all works. I've seen electric cars. There are telephone poles. There are satellites in the air. I don't know what they're doing with them. Well, I guarantee they're probably making a prison house for you to live in. But if you're unsure about believing in science, if you're unsure about math, okay, then why are you so certain that this Illuminati occult that has taken over our young children, and they're all flashing the signs? If you know anything about Marilyn Monroe and Marilyn, the other Hollywood stars, and even Doris Day, they were all involved in satanic cults and members of the Satanic Church, lovers of Anton LaVey. The Beatles and the Beach Boys, and the Beach Boys had a satanic cult and blamed it all on Manson. And I don't want to go into it here, but the CIA has been a shadow government for a long time. And yes, there is truth in some of the things that she's saying. Everybody's bringing certain bits and pieces of truth, and then they're overlaying it with lies, propaganda. Yes, Eisenhower probably signed a treaty, but I don't think it was with aliens. He signed it with the Germans. They were held up in wherever they were. I think Chile and Argentina and some offshore. Maybe they got a space station. I said they probably do. They've had much more advanced technology than what they've let us know. And certain individuals that become president, then they find out they're briefed on this reality that no American knows, that we're not running the government. Nobody, they're not reptilians running the government. It's people like Kissinger. He looks like a reptilian, yeah, but he's just a Bavarian. And they opened the bottomless pit, John D. and Edward Kelly, and had a seance, as this lady says, and spoke to the devil, and he's giving them this information to make these ships. And so Eisenhower signed a treaty with the German government that runs the world, the Bavarians, the Illuminati. They have space stations and underground water bases in Area 51 and Los Alamos and Fort Detrick and everywhere else in the world is their little, the military, the Navy runs everything, the military industrial complex, the CIA, and yeah, they're kidnapping people and turning their minds into jelly and possessing them, so the demons can have these bodies, and they displace and fragment souls. Yes, this is why they want the drugs on the street. And yeah, there is a lot of pedophilia going on, because these high-ups get to do whatever they want. That's just one of their little perks. But the main idea is to take the children's minds so that the devils and the demons can come and possess their souls. They can have a big party before Jesus comes back. So now, let me just show you this real quick.
It's turned over to the Bavarian Illuminati.
Okay.
And those guys are real. They're still...
I'll share a little bit more with this here in a minute, but this is the video I watched. Bavarian Illuminati, the real founders of secret space programs. This is how it all began. And yeah, I guess her name is Penny Bradley. Presents a fascinating insight into the founding members, both humans and extraterrestrials, who were involved in birthing the secret space programs. Now, notice this. This channel is managed by Zoar Entertainment Group. The Zoar is Hebrew. Of course, everything's run by certain individuals, and we won't say their name in public format. Will be, but the UK Zoar Entertainment Group International USA and AdRev USA. So ad revenue, is that what it's managed? This program or channel is managed by the Zoar Entertainment and AdRev. So all this is just entertainment, not real, but they don't present it as entertainment. They present it as real. They don't say that this woman, what is her name, Penny Bradley, is just an actress. Well, who is Penny Bradley? Before I show you who Penny Bradley is, I just want to show you some of the, oops. There's what she looks like. And I'll even play some of it here. I guess we could do that.
Engineering, and it's turned over to the Bavarian Illuminati.
Bavarian.
And those guys are real. They're still in existence. And at least 2 of them have contacted me.
Oh, I'll bet.
And they kind of got a bad behavior pattern. Okay. 2 of the Bavarian Illuminati subgroups took over the bulk of the work on the space project. Now, these guys were German aristocracy. So they were rich people. They were Merovingian descendants.
Merovingian? No, I don't think
they
so.
They were mostly Rh negative.
Usurped that line.
The men were in the Thule Society. And yes, that's how you say it.
I say Thule.
They say it Thule Gesellschaft. So they were mostly involved in occult and
frugal rods,
engineering, and they were working on ways to get into space.
Into space?
And the men were in the Thule.
I thought they got aliens up there with ships. How'd they trying to get into space?
And the women in Vril were mostly mystics.
Vril. Mystics.
In those days,
Seances.
They actually called it a seance. But it was effectively the same thing that today we call
they actually admitted
CE5.
it.
They were deliberately making contact with extraterrestrials,
contacting Satan
in the hopes of getting technology.
I think that Satan contacted them.
They were the male and female of the same families and would talk over dinner.
Oh, so simple.
The importance of this
it all was a big accident. Somebody talked.
Maria Orsic's father.
Oh, her father.
Gave
no, please don't tell me her
father.
Oh no!
Her channeled designs for his repulsing engine.
Oh, they gave her the craft knowledge. Why?
It's important to know these guys talk to each other.
These aliens of 50,000 years
advanced.
The Society
ended up contacting Aldebaran the Draco,
The Draco?
and
Is that the dragon?
otherwise known as Anunnaki.
Oh, the Anunnaki. You heard
And
about
they
that.
were
Sitchin
given
wrote a book, and
detailed
now you know all
plans
about that, huh?
that were drawn into blueprints to make the basic Hanabu ship.
What a
And
Hanabu
because
ship?
these women didn't want any more
Oh,
war,
no, the women
they
were-
did not attach
They were good
weapons.
people talking to Satan, those
So
women.
when the Nazi regime, I think the proper term is nationalized their work, they had to spend
A
some
sign that you're
time
lying
figuring
when you
out
start
how
Googling.
to attach weapons to a spinning ship
Oh, wow.
in
How'd
a
you do
way
that?
that they could be aimed
Oh, my
at
goodness. They
some
could
particular thing instead
have
of just
anti-gravity,
spinning
but they couldn't
wildly.
figure out how to
And
stop the
that
thing from
took the whole
rotating now.
war.
Good grief.
So, yeah. Okay.
Look up a lie detector test of that lady.
Hitler did nationalize the Illuminati efforts to go
Oh,
to
he did,
space.
huh?
Or Maria Orsic.
Disclosure.
Her name is spelled that way because she wasn't exactly German. She
wasn't. What was she?
what they call
Bohemian.
Bohemian, which is the country we today call the Czech Republic.
Oh, the Bohemians. The Bohemian.
And she managed to keep control of her own
The Bohemian
prototypes.
Grove?
So she let them nationalize copies of
Oh,
the
she let
blueprints,
them do it. It
but
was all a
not
big
the
mistake. Hmm.
originals. And how she had enough
Chutzpah?
personal power to pull this off,
Are you a Bavarian lady?
I'm not real sure.
You're not real sure.
I mean,
I mean,
my
you
family
know
would
everything,
call
but
it
you don't know how to
chutzpah.
explain things that you
But-
don't explain.
Oh. Mama's family's Jewish.
You're
so
Jewish?
I'm not German at all.
Oh, I get
just
it now.
served
That's all
with
we got
them.
to. That's all we were. Yeah, now we got to figure it
Daddy's
out. All
family
right.
is
Bye.
descended.
So, I tried looking her up. I wanted to know who she was, and I guess she's not very important because I couldn't really find much. But I did find this. It says Stargate to the Cosmos, and there's a picture of the lovely lady, Penny Bradley, Stargate 2018. And it does say Bio 2018 Stargate to the Cosmos Expo. And there's a close-up of that lovely lady. And she's a speaker, panelist, a workshop, vendor, 2018 Stargate to the Cosmos Expo, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Participates in 9 items. She says, I was a military laboratories created hybrid. Born in 1955. I was kidnapped in 1959. From my bed and taken to Langley for mind fracture and weaponization of my PSI abilities. Part of that was a tour in the time tunnel at Montauk. In 1964, I was taken to Mars through the New York jump gate. I spent 25 years on Mars. That's a long time up there on Mars. In school and as a fighter pilot. She was a fighter pilot. Oh, this lady's cracking me up. In the war with the native green reptilians and mantids. I guess that's like a bug, like a praying mantis or something. Well, I will tell you something at this juncture, like Mr. Bush Sr. would say, at this very juncture, 1,000,000 points of light. Not gonna do it. No. It's patently a lie, everything she's saying. There are no aliens that have taken over the planet. There are only Satan and his devils. Whatever they are, I have explained to you guys in the past, they don't have bodies. That's why they possess people. And she literally describes, and we're going to see how she describes it maybe a little here, but you can watch that video that I just showed you a little of, and she admits that she is possessed and has been since she was born. She talks about how they do it, but they don't call it possession, but they control you as a second entity, and then she calls it mind fracture. Well, that's possession. By any other name, it's the same word. It's the same thing. And whoever these people are, let's say you don't want to call them the devil. You want to call them draconians. Where do we get this draconian type dealing in government? Maybe we've always called them draconians. I wonder why. Maybe because Draco is the dragon, and the Bible calls the dragon or the beast government. I don't know. But the Bible's not referring to aliens. It's referring to the devil who drags a third of the stars of heaven. Now, you say, okay, well, that makes sense. They're in the sky. They got a police force, a bunch of ships. It's like Darth Vader, Star Wars. And, well, that would mean that the universe, how vast is that? Even if it's just a galaxy. Well, they talk about having colonies in other galaxies. This woman does. So basically, she's saying the entire universe. She says they have complete control of the Orion arm going into the Sagittarian belt, which would be like about, I don't know how many percentages, or how much of a percentage that would be of the whole galaxy itself. But she says they had colonies in other galaxies. And, the stuff she says is literally insanity. Like, you can't find the smartest person on the face of the earth who wouldn't know that, maybe knows calculus and the highest physics known to man, but literally has no idea where we are in the universe or what the galaxy looks like or what the speed of light is or anything else. Like, it's crazy that I could probably debate this woman or talk to her and she wouldn't know anything about electronics or Newtonian physics or quantum physics, or probably doesn't know the scriptures. What's interesting is that she says some of the things that when she goes and talks about this to people, that a lot of people want to give her an exorcism. And she just laughed her heart out. Because somebody said, well, let's see, if you're being abducted like once every few weeks or days or whatever, and you don't want to, it's against your will, why don't you just say, I'm a sovereign soul, get away from me? And she said, oh, I can't do that. They own her. The only way she found a way out of this is she says when she went up in the ship one day, she found the black hole and she's going to jump in. Oh man, I belly laughed for a while on that one. But for everything that she's saying to be true, there has to be no Jesus. There has to be no deity, right? Just haphazard universe that nobody really knows what's going on. They're all devils. Every human on earth is not a child of the Lord. Love's not a real thing. These other races, there's millions of reptilian races. What does that mean? What does that really mean? Where did they come up with these words? Reptilian. Would they have used that word 100 years ago before David Icke? Or this word draconian? Where did we get that? Somebody started promoting this with this Galactic Federation talk. And now everybody's using the same lingo. And I've noticed that now it's all gone over to a lot of the stuff they're incorporating that I've been teaching for the last 10 years. They've all started talking about Inky and Yahweh's the devil and everything. But this lady was 25 years on Mars, and she was a fighter pilot in the war with the native green reptilians and the mantis. So I guarantee this is lies, because there are no such thing as reptilians. The Bible tells you that Adam stood upright and was made in the image of deity. And all the animals, a reptile is an animal, they were created, and Adam was to have dominion over them. And they were only made on the earth. And let's say they were made in all the earths, all around the galaxies, there's all kinds of earths. They would still be lower than the humanoid. This is a bald-faced lie, maybe because they want you to believe that these demons are ahead of you. That just because they can't come down here and walk around like us and they want to possess you, doesn't make them less inferior. They're reptilians, and that means they're smarter. Really? Huh? I guess they're reptilians because they shed their body and get into your body. I mean, this is insane. She says, in 1990, I was transferred to Dark Fleet. Oh, what an interesting name for the fleet that she was transferred to. The dark one, right? Where I was a navigator in a freighter for about 25 years. Let's see, that's 50. She was on Mars for 25 years. She was a navigator in a freighter for about 25 years. The lady's only about 70, 65. So I suppose if she started when she was 20, that would be that's her whole life. She spent on Mars and flying through space. But in 2014, I was an age regressed, mind wiped, and time traveled back to where I was taken from. I no longer knew my family and had lots of programmed alters. Okay. The lifetime since I was returned, I study in the lifetime. So she's talking about past lives. This is what she's talking about. I studied mathematics, computers, and microbiology. Well, she should know something about science. I was married and had 3 children, now grown. There have been obvious blockages in my life path. Age regression, sickness started in 1981. I was still able to work most of the time until about 2001, when arsenic poison floored me. I struggled to regain my health and was working full time again in 2004. A work injury made me paralyzed from the waist down. Oh, really? Do you believe all this? Paralyzed from in the name of the devil, she was healed. I came back enough that I can walk and take care of myself. I started recovering memories. Oh, she started making up a, a very lucrative narrative and writing it in a book, kind of like that Alina Danan, right? I've collected most of my interviews that are publicly available to playlists on my YouTube channel. That way, the original interview...
Interdimensional, intertemporal,
and psychic
phenomena.
We what share the profound... Okay, well...
work of seekers of deeper truth, seekers who seek a...
Sorry, excuse me, but I'm talking. That way, the original interview still gets the credit if they are monetized. There are a few of them. Some have been translated into Russian, and one was done in an English-German format. Presentations. The Mars colonies and their militia, a description of the Ares Prime colony in the early stages in the German-speaking sector. She's talking about space programs, mind control. Well, in that video that I saw, she kind of goes into this whole NAZI thing and the German thing, and she confirms it's Bavarian and Illuminatis and they're Germans. She doesn't seem to, well, she says they're Merovingian, which, we've talked about the Merovingian line that goes back to Christ. It was usurped by the Franks, and it was they brought a lineal descendant of Jeconiah from Babylon. It was still there in Babylon, had never gone back to the land, the Holy Land. They had been reigning over there in Iraq and Baghdad. That's people over there in Iraq. We don't necessarily think of them as Judean, but the lineal bloodline was. And they brought them over in about 800, and they started Charlemagne was the emperor at that time when they got that royal bloodline, and he married the royal bloodline into his aunt's or his brother's sister, and they created this new line that ran the world. And most of the popes were of these particular bloodlines. And the Rothschilds and all the way down, they infiltrated the Masons and the church and Parliament and everything else. And the royal bloodline in Britain. So she doesn't explain all that. She just vaguely talks about the Merovingian line. They don't want you to know too much about who these people are. They talk like they're speaking to aliens and it's a great deal and there's nothing you can do about it. There is no deity. The truth is that they're demons, which proves there is a deity and that Jesus is coming back. Now, that's what I was going to tell you a minute ago. At some point, somebody in the audience asked her, why doesn't she just say, no, I'm a sovereign? And she said she has no right, that they own her. They created her in a lab. Well, I don't believe that she was created in a lab. I believe this is a hoax to get everybody familiar with the idea that you might have been hijacked or abducted, and everybody wants to be. and they want to be possessed because they think that somehow they get to go up on a big ship and it's no big deal. You got a demon inside of you. Hey, well, what she says is the demon tortures you and fragments your mind and then takes over your body. Well, listen, this sounds like some of the stuff we've been saying. This is why they're talking about zombies, and this is why the thingy that we won't mention has been done. And I do believe that there was another one of these like Agenda 21 or something, one of these things they were talking about. One of their parts of the plan was the zombie part. It's even written into some of the agreements you click on, like Microsoft and Google and your phone, everything you say, I agree, and it's all this fine print. It talks about the zombies in there, that they're not responsible. This is all being written into the program. So, like I said, she talks about another one of these individuals goes back to, she talks about Eisenhower, how Truman refused to give up our sovereignty and wouldn't sign the treaty, and then Eisenhower did sign it, and at that point they took over, they got Area 51, and supposedly these Germans who are really working for the Dracos and the Anunnaki. I mean, they came up with that since Sitchin's book, right? This is just stuff they're coming up with. This woman is just either a charlatan. I believe that a lot of these individuals like her may be possessed. She may believe it. She may have dreams and think it's all real. She's possessed of Satan, and maybe she believes that Satan isn't the bad guy, and Satan's told her, hey, I'm the good guy. Just like Elena Danan thinks that, right, Jesus is not going to save anybody, but Inky, we're all going to be saved in his blood. And Inky started this program where you got to do the thingy, and yeah, we won't say anymore. So she says that Inky arrived, Elena Danan, in 2021. Well, 7 years later, I think is the end, 2028. But that's only a guess. I'm talking about this lady. I don't know how popular she is or anything like this, but somebody I know sent me this video, and I think she's adequate to kind of debunk in lieu of all the other idiots and liars out there. I have another friend that sent me the video of an interview that Admiral Byrd, I think, did with probably CBS or something, where he talks about land beyond the poles. Well, you get the whole context, and he's not saying anything about inside the earth or a hollow earth, simply that from Little America, beyond the actual pole, there's still more land they hadn't seen, because they took airplanes from Little America, which is on our side of the globe at the bottom of the wheel, and all the way up to the pole. They reached the pole and came back. They didn't go beyond. He said there's a whole area, maybe the size of the United States. Well, that's all true. And he said, but there are no people down there. In the tape itself, it says there are no people. There's nothing there, not even trees. He admitted that. He says just all ice and snow. So it is not, I don't know. People just want to believe all of this. And the reason is because there's a narrative going on. You've got this guy I hear a lot of people like to watch this guy. He dresses in black. He's got a white shirt. Looks like he's some kind of a priest. He got real jet black hair. It's the X file or something. I don't know. I think there's he's everything's white, right? And he's sitting at a desk, and he's quite personable, and he's got a lot of knowledge about all this stuff. And I've only watched him like maybe once or twice, but a lot of the information he's giving is the sort of the technical side. If you were going to explain it in scientific, technical, real, normal terms. And this lady's describing the whole thing from the perspective of the occult. But both of these people, whether it's the New Age or it's these other individuals like him that are bringing this information out and putting it in the context of aliens, like it's real, not in any way spiritual, like demons or something, or possession. They don't get into that kind of stuff, but they still carry it back to the Germans. They still understand all the stuff we've been saying, and they talk about the Ostflaben or whatever, the Schwaben land or something, that they made a base. Look, the Germans did take over. They're letting you know that. The blue-eyed blondes with the Schwarzstick on their shoulder, that they wrote this story. It's supposed to be Admiral Byrd's diary. It's all made up. It's just like the book that said that Trump would be president, the last president, or the book that said that Elon would take a colony to Mars. These are all written in advance. Just like L. Ron Hubbard wrote these novels, just like Wernher von Braun wrote novels. They weren't novels. It was the occult, and they were writing down for posterity their plans. Like it's some sort of Buck Rogers show, but it's really their evil plans. It's coming from Satan, friends. I guarantee none of this can be possible in reality unless Jesus Christ does not exist. If there's a bunch of aliens running around out there and they're all more advanced than we are, and they eat each other, as she says, then we're doomed for all eternity to live in this hell. And look, I'm not just saying, oh, well, the odds are that, maybe they're wrong. Let's hope in Jesus because it's the only hope we have. No, I'm saying they have absolutely no evidence. It's just them talking. There's no proof. Oh, well, there's a secret paper somewhere and it's classified and somebody said and the other person had a seance and they said and the demon said and what? Stop it. You twitches. This lady refused. She laughed at demon possession. This woman doesn't believe in the Lord. She never mentioned the Lord Jesus one time. She doesn't want to be free. She likes being possessed of Satan. This is her career. Look at that smile on her face. Does she look like she's being persecuted? No, Satan gives her probably all kinds of pleasurable things and money. I guarantee they wouldn't let her say what she's saying unless they wanted her to. They're disclosing this information, which is mostly lies, right? Just like Tucker Carlson is coming out telling you, oh, all these guys are liars. Oh, they're all evil. And all the people that are running for president are stupid except Trump, according to him, because they're going to have disclosure. But in the end, everything's going to be partly true and all the liars are going to be exposed, but they're not going to be exposed completely because if they exposed it completely, they'd have to tell you that all of them are in on it. And there's no aliens. It's the devil. So then I flip a page and I see this article. Here it is. This Florida family was found guilty of selling bleach product as can cure all. Now, the reason I know this is some kind of crazy persecution against truthers or whatever we want to use the word you want to use, and that it's the government itself that is wrong. Notice how the CNN is like colluding with the government. It's like a huge conspiracy. What is going on? Right? Somehow they got complete control of everything you see, smell, hear, and touch. And everybody in the world believes now, oh my goodness, this terrible, evil family was selling bleach. Well, what idiot would put bleach and drink bleach? That's not what it is. They're lying. It's not bleach. And they lie in this article. And it wasn't just sold as a, whatever, cure-all. They don't even have a chance or an opportunity to explain. I mean, they probably didn't even look at what they claimed about it. They probably just had people go into the court and say, it's bleach. And nobody certainly would help them or testify for them. Nobody cares. I don't even think Tucker Carlson cares. I just saw Tucker Carlson. He gave the most amazing speech I have ever heard, just about. I mean, it looked like he was running for president. And then I saw him on the stage interviewing presidential candidates and just blowing them away with stuff that I have never seen any candidates being asked before. I guarantee this is now mega disclosure. It looks to me like we're going to have a campaign, a presidential campaign, like you wouldn't believe. And it also looks like Tucker Carlson is backing Trump. There's no question he seems to be saying, oh yeah, Trump, whatever you may think of him. He's right. He's always right. And then he goes on and begins to literally say, I'm not going to say who are the bad guys. And he said something about Pence. And everybody laughed. And he just broke out laughing like, yeah, Pence is the most evil man that ever lived. Maybe he is. I think what he is a coward. I think that's why he didn't do anything at the election time with his supposed powers. See, this is another thing. They just claim that there is no supposed powers, and that these individuals that were alternative electorates or whatever, they make it sound like it was all a hoax, it was fake, and that they were just liars, cheats, scoundrels, pulling off the biggest hoax like a coup. And none of that's true. And it'd be one thing if the left were presenting it that way, but so it appears Fox and everybody else is. Like, you're not going to hear anywhere that there weren't actual electorates that, under some constitutional theory, at least, shall we say, were legitimate. Now, so many people have just laughed and pretended that these other interpretations or certain laws that would come into effect if the integrity of the election had been bypassed, which I believe it was. And when that happens, it's like another country, a foreign entity has just attacked the country and you can't have the election, you've got to postpone it. There are certain laws and they're just acting like they don't happen, like it's not there. Like special powers that are given to the vice president if this and that happens. And they're just all pretending that those things didn't happen. See, under their spin of everything, these other people are evil, trying to usurp the Constitution. But the truth is, it's opposite. The people who were out there doing something believed the Constitution was under a threat. And they were implementing constitutional law that would kick in because of that. So it's the same thing with this. They're claiming that this poor family was selling bleach. How dare they? Did anybody die? Probably not. Did any, I suppose if you drank a whole bunch of this stuff, you could get really sick. But I've taken, I shouldn't say, because evidently they might come out here with the SWAT team and take me away. But let me just say, I believe that this could be a legitimate thing. I don't personally use this method. I don't believe in medicine per se. I believe in eating right and being in good health. However, if you had some kind of parasite, I would recommend taking apple cider vinegar. Not this particular method. However, it's possible that this is something that would possibly work. I mean, even chlorine itself isn't something that the body doesn't need. We do need some of it. I hear people talking about they should take borax or salt. Salt is deadly poison if you take too much of it. You take a spoonful of salt and try to swallow it and you'll throw up. Pour salt on your grass and it'll all die. I mean, you only need a very little amount. A couple of thousand milligrams a day or something, whatever it is. But this sickens me. There is absolutely no free speech. But so what's the deal with Tucker, that he's out there just really saying stuff like I would say it? Like, I couldn't tell the difference. He seemed like somebody legitimately exposing everything to the world. It seems like they're going to go ahead and bring the hammer down and expose all the liars. It'll probably take about a year and a half thing, where during the election they'll just bombast everybody and Trump will dun, 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 dun. They seem like they're backing Trump, whether it's Elon or I think even Robert Kennedy Jr. will end up bowing out and going with Trump or something. I don't know. Maybe it'll be him. One of these guys they're going to promote. I don't know if Tucker likes RFK Jr. I haven't really paid that much attention yet, but I can see that he really likes Trump. And once you get behind Trump with somebody like Tucker, I don't see how they're going to be able to defeat that. I mean, he was sitting there asking, Tucker was asking Nikki Haley, supposedly a conservative candidate, and he asked her about some very serious things, and she, like the election being stolen or something, I think it was, and she just had no clue what to say. She was literally caught lying. I've never seen a commentator or a questioner or whatever they call them in these campaigns be so brutal and prying as Tucker was. But since I know that Tucker, his father, was a very high up CIA agent, and I don't believe the CIA is out for our good. I believe they're bringing in the chaos literally to just bring in the solution. So now here's Tucker Carlson, enter Donald J. Trump, and other individuals that are going to come on. And people like Pence are going to look around like, week, 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 like the cartoon with their necks spinning around and around, because they didn't get the memo that now we're supposed to start telling the truth. See, these guys knew that they couldn't get into office unless they lied like a dirty rat. You dirty rat, you. And they just thought that was what they had to do. So they had to promote the Ukraine war, and that's what Pence got caught with his pants down talking about. He didn't realize that the memo has been changed, but only the people that got the memo are the very high elite that are now going to come down hard on people like Adam Schiff, and all these transgenders are going to be going, like, what's going on? I thought we were the good guys. I thought we were the ones you loved. And there are going to be a lot of sincere, or I don't think they were sincere, but in other words, they were genuinely passionate for all this in ridiculousness. They were Satanists. They really were. And they thought they were winning, and they were just being used. These poor people were just being used to create a chaotic environment. They don't really want to get rid of the police. Are you kidding? Let their cattle go? Just open the fence and let them go? What are you going to give for them? $50, $50, $51 now. $52 over here. What? You get money for these. You don't just let them go. But you see, they have control. People don't even think about how we went in, and after World War II, when these, what we call them, Bavarian Illuminati. Let's call them that. The ones who ruled the world, The Knights of Malta. The Table of Nine. The Moloch. People that worship the Moloch, sacrificing babies in the forests of California. The Bohemian Grove. They are running things. There's only a few thousand of them in the world that know anything about what's going on. And all these other people they're patsies. They're little clowns. They're little puppets, and they tell them what to do. And for a bunch of years, they said, go in there, and just like they would sponsor Satanists or Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons or whatever. And all these little, like, goons, their little goons would run around, each of them having their own agenda, right? There was those who were like advocating for the poor, and it was like ridiculous. Like, give all the poor all the wealth of all the rich. And of course, none of that's going to happen. They were just advocators. They were just creating some kind of hope in one pocket here and one pocket there. And then they would sponsor the other side, and they would fight, right? They would sponsor the NRA. Why do you think they even let the NRA continue? Charlton Heston and them, take this gun from my cold, dead hands. Come on, it was sponsored. He was the guy on the Ten Commandments. He was Moses. They put Reagan as an actor in as president. All of this is just, they play both sides. Right now, they're not going to be playing both sides anymore. They're bringing in the one world government, which is the government of Satan. So they don't want two sides anymore. They're just going to, it's literally the Fourth Reich. I told you that the other day. These individuals over in Germany, they worship Satan. They didn't call him that. The Germans worship Odin. This is why this is a big thing going around. It's the Gothic look. The Goths, the Visigoths are the Vikings. These are the same peoples. They had the Skull and Bones and all these societies and all of the architecture, because they infiltrated the architects, the Masons, years and years ago. I mean, they infiltrated as a religious order. Not as, it was a religious spiritual order. They were priests, but they infiltrated it and tried to learn as much as they could, and then they hid it and turned it upside down and burned all the books and didn't let anybody else know but them. These individuals live in some kind of a society where they really believe in what they're doing. I'm sure that they they have meetings where they say, yeah, we got to kill everybody. I mean, we have to. These people are evil. I mean, these little peasants are going to just poop all over the world. They're going to destroy the whole world, right? And so we have to do whatever within our means to save the planet. They probably believe all this stuff. The little peasants, of course, the elite know what they're doing. They're laughing, and all the money and all their big bellies sticking out, and their little huge belly button that you could lose a cup of coffee in, right? And all the little crumbs that dripping down from their chin, and the wine that's coming down the bottle and dripping into their belly button, and they're just laughing it up. And these scoundrels got harems, and I don't even think they pay them. I think they're just slaves. And I think this goes on, and I think they're allowed to do just anything they want, and they think they're allowed to do anything they want. And I believe that in their religion, it's nothing like our religion. They don't believe that morality as we're taught. They teach us a different morality. Don't steal and love everybody and da-da-da-da, and don't argue and don't fight. Well, they fight. They believe in fighting and warring and hating. And they taught us to be schizophrenic because on one hand, we're supposed to be good to our neighbor, but on the other hand, we're supposed to kill our other neighbor. Anyway, this has been going on, and this upsets me so much because here's this little family that's just blindsided, right? Thinking maybe in their own mind. Now, let's say it's wrong. Maybe the stuff that they're selling is not something. I don't care for the stuff that they're selling. I think it might not be true, what the claims that people make about it. It might be somewhat true. I don't know. And I agree that people shouldn't be selling and talking about stuff they really don't know anything about. But at the same time, why do they allow the pharmaceutical companies to, we won't say anymore, right? Because we can't. So it upsets me so bad. These unsuspecting people, they're probably good people, probably Christians. They probably really believe in this. I know many people that really believe in this. So I think at the worst, they should have slapped their hands and said, look, you're not allowed to sell it anymore. You don't know it, but it's not good. If they really believe it's not good for public, just make a law that says you can't sell it no more. There wasn't any law, and they said, oh, they were cheating, getting around the system by saying they were a religious cult, and they just made it up just so they could make money. I don't think they made it up just to make money. Now, once a person starts making money, most people go corrupt. I understand that. But I think originally they probably believed in this and were trying, the preppers, and I'm sure they had a good heart. I don't even know these people. But I just know that it may be the same company that was selling this stuff that I was looking into sometime back. And it sounds like either them or another one like them. And what they were doing is trying to help, right? There are people that sell colloidal silver. What are they? They evil? They believe in it. Does it really work? Did the government do any studies? I mean, there's people who believe that if you wash your hands every day, it works. And they go around telling people this. Should we arrest them because they're wrong? You might actually be healthier if you don't wash your hands every 5 seconds. You should wash your hands if they're dirty, but not just keep washing your hands all the time. Should we arrest Fauci for telling people they should wear a mask? That's very detrimental to your health. So, I mean, people are saying, yeah, I agree with you, Dave. But no, I'm serious. This is so wrong that people are being jailed and punished and abused and set up like this. There are people from January 6th still in jail, I guess, and they've been tortured. We've got Guantanamo Bay, which is way worse than the gulag, and it's just, it makes my heart sad beyond anything I can tell you guys. Just about every time I go past a courthouse and I see right in town, a lot of people don't notice it. There's like barbed wire, and the people that go to the courthouse, they get convicted and they go into these dungeons down under the courthouse. Nobody realizes they're up there doing their business at the courthouse, right? Paying their water bill or something, and down underneath these dark, ugly steps, like out of some horror movie. Or these people down there basically in half-lit 6x9 cells on some sort of cement concrete slab. They don't give them blankets or anything. They're freezing to death down there. They're scared. They don't get representation. They don't even like most of them haven't committed any real crimes. It's really sad. This article says a federal jury in Miami on Wednesday found a Florida family guilty of defrauding the United States by distributing a toxic bleaching agent. It's not a bleaching agent, as I said before. Chloride is not the same as chlorine, and it's completely different. They're lying. And it's not, they don't take but one drop of it in a glass of water, up to maybe 3 drops or something. It's not like, people put bleach in their water if they're out camping, and they sometimes put more bleach, real bleach, in their water when they're out camping, and it's not a health risk at that level. So all of this is lies, and here it is on CNN, and it's just out there, and everybody's reading it, and people are like, oh, they cower, and like, oh, I guess they were bad then. Whereas a week ago, we were all like, oh, we were into it, like, order some of that. Now it's like, oh, it's bad, those evil people. And nobody seems to notice the schizophrenia or the cowardice within themselves. Why isn't somebody saying anything? Am I the only one that's disturbed about this? These poor people, I don't even know them. Well, Tucker was disturbed about some Christians and people over there in Ukraine that are being persecuted. And he confronted Pence, and Pence didn't have a problem with that. And he asked Pence, he says, we're going over there spending all this money on Ukraine and other Philippine borders and all these other things. But what about the people here in our cities that need your help? How do we have the money to send cluster bombs over to Ukraine when we don't have the money to fix our roads and schools and take care of the people here at home? And he said, well, they're not my concern. Mike Pence literally said that. The people of the United States is not his concern. I have lost all respect for that man. And I never had any, really, because I don't have respect for any politician. Nuts whatsoever. And even when I see Tucker acting like the most humble, amazing, smartest man I've ever seen in my life, and I realized that he was chosen and groomed for that job, I realized I can't allow myself to think, oh, maybe this is real, because it's not. And I know what they're doing. They're going to be bringing in the one world government now. And it goes on, Mark Grinnan and his sons, Jonathan Jordan and Joseph Grinnan, were convicted of promoting and selling Miracle Mineral Solution. Yeah, that was the one I was reading about some time ago. Like about 5 years ago, I think. And I think I even ordered something from them. And I did take it for a short while. I don't know what it did or didn't do. It didn't seem to harm me. And it says when it mixed, it develops into a dangerous bleach, which has caused serious and potentially life-threatening side effects. And I don't believe that. They didn't show any evidence for that. But, really, this whole thing is just a bunch of propaganda, and it's very sad. But anyway, I'm going to probably just leave it there, guys. I'm just trying to warn y'all to be careful about what you believe. Just because is a good storyteller or is something maybe you want to believe, but really think it out. Do you really want to believe in a universe like that? And what does that matter? What's the truth? What's the real truth? And you're going to have to get on your knees and talk to the Lord about that. But don't just make stuff up, friends. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. May the Lord bless you all. And we'll see you tomorrow.